I'll buy your masters. You ready? I will buy your masters.
The BMF empire is spinning out of control once again after Big Meech was caught on camera breaking down in tears, speaking out for the very first time about the alleged $120 million scam tied to Rick Ross. The emotional clip, which spread across social media like wildfire, shows the once-feared kingpin visibly shattered as he reveals how Ross's questionable business moves bled BMF's money dry and wiped out years of grind and loyalty.
Career that you have any respect for?
Oh, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
I built this from the ground up. And he took everything, Meech said, his voice trembling as he described how what was pitched as a dream collaboration turned into a financial nightmare. He accused Ross of twisting contracts, rerouting profits, and breaking every ounce of trust for his own benefit. But Meech wasn't done. He vowed revenge, ruthless revenge. This ain't over. Every dollar, every lie, every move. I'm coming for it all, he warned. The video left fans stunned, reigniting fiery debates about Ross's ties to BMF. And if Meech's words mean anything, this isn't just beef. It's the opening shot of an industry war that could shake hip-hop's foundation. Rick Ross just pulled one of the boldest power plays we've seen in years. And Big Meech paid the price.
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead.
Now word is, Meech has finally faced Ross about the scandal, while 50 Cent wastes zero time roasting both men online. The story has blown up everywhere, playing out like the season finale of a wild reality show. But one question keeps echoing. What did Big Meech really expect when partnering with a man who once worked hand-in-hand with law enforcement and knows every loophole in the game? Ever since Ross publicly threw Meech under the bus, 50 Cent's been ruthless, firing subliminals and slick jabs aimed at both Big Meech and Lil Meech across every platform. But the biggest twist came right after Big Meech walked out of prison just months ago. Instead of keeping low-key or linking with his real supporters, he was spotted partying with Rick Ross, laughing for photos like they were old friends. The move shocked everyone, especially with Ross's long-standing feud with 50 Cent. Many thought Meech would have at least shown loyalty to those who rode for him behind bars. Instead, insiders say his reunion with Ross felt like a dagger in 50's back. And just when things couldn't get messier, Lil Meech threw shade by posting real power, while Big Meech turned up beside Floyd Mayweather, another Ross affiliate. Those optics only turned the heat higher, proving this saga is far from done. Big Meech's name might have generated nearly $50 million in buzz. But let's be real, 50 Cent's the one who built something solid from it.
That, Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech.
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would...
Meanwhile, Rick Ross has been playing an entirely different game, using Meech's legacy as a pawn in a much larger clout chase. Beyond treating Meech's image like a chess piece, Ross hasn't added much of real value. He thrives off attention, headlines, and ego, fully aware that the chaos would eventually turn into viral gold. And when things started getting too hot, Ross did what he does best: disappeared. He quietly slipped away before anyone could hold him accountable, blaming his sudden distance on a so-called shoulder injury. But most believe that was just a slick excuse to dodge backlash. Behind the scenes, Ross was busy flipping the narrative and investors' cash through his controversial boss token crypto scheme. After burning countless fans who trusted him, the internet crowned him Rug Ross, a nod to the classic rug pull scam. Ironically, that injury happened just days after he was exposed for lying to Big Meech, sparking serious online outrage. Reports say Ross secretly dumped most of those tokens, keeping only enough to reinvest into high-profit real estate deals. Critics claim that if Ross hadn't blocked Meech's lane with his self-serving plays and greedy hustles, none of this downfall would have unfolded the way it did.
Bad guy out of all of this.
Who's the bad guy? I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is.
Big Meech had every chance to make a clean, powerful comeback in the industry. But instead, the former BMF boss found himself buried under bad choices, misplaced trust, and moves that clearly benefited Rick Ross more than anyone else. Now, Lil Meech is taking heavy fire online as fans mock how fast that so-called brotherhood with Ross completely crumbled. The fallout has become a hot topic across hip-hop media. From actors to bloggers, everyone's weighing in. One of the loudest voices is power star Michael Rainey Jr., who made it clear he has zero sympathy for either Lil Meech or Big Meech. In his words, both men are grown and should have seen this betrayal coming from miles away. And of course, 50 Cent, never one to stay quiet, doubled down on that exact sentiment, pouring more gas on the fire. He reminded everyone that in this game, loyalty and foresight are everything. Industry folks already know, when it comes to beef, 50 doesn't play. Even DJ Vlad chimed in, warning that 50 Cent is not the person anyone wants to test, because he'll burn the whole situation down just to make a point. And let's be real, Big Meech isn't the first person Ross has allegedly abandoned. The rapper's track record speaks for itself. One infamous incident in Canada saw his own crew get jumped, while Ross allegedly slipped away, only to return later claiming it was a loyalty test.
Turn it all down. If you piss him off. His own sometimes too. You know, he'll cancel BMF to prove a point. Regardless of how much.
It's a cold, calculated mindset, but it fits the pattern Ross has followed his entire career. Every move he makes is strategic, with an escape plan already mapped, out for when things stop serving his interests. Insiders say Ross saw this BMF fallout coming long before it hit the surface, especially after Whack 100 publicly called him out as the real puppet master behind the rising tension between 50 Cent and the Flenory family. And if that's true, then Ross might have been quietly pulling the strings all along. At the core of it, Meech never really had a true ally in Rick Ross. From day one, Ross knew exactly what he was doing, hyping Meech up with promises of rebuilding his empire, stacking money, and getting back on track, all while flaunting their brotherhood online for clout. Behind closed doors, though, he was playing both sides, twisting the story, turning Meech against 50, and fueling an unnecessary rivalry. But when it came time to prove loyalty, everything Ross said fell flat. Whack 100 wasn't lying when he called Ross out. If Ross genuinely wanted to help Meech rebuild, he would have kept their business quiet and focused on real opportunities. Instead, he stirred drama, took public shots at 50, and kept talking about a BMF series he knew he'd never control.
Feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the fuck I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too, and you asking for my sympathy for it. You be alright.
Now Ross's silence says it all. He's completely disappeared from the situation, and all that talk about helping Meech? Gone. At the end of the day, Ross has always moved for one reason, his own pocket. And Meech doesn't fit into that picture anymore. Word on the street is Ross was actually behind the cancellation of Big Meech's Welcome Home benefit event, but let everyone believe it was 50's doing. Insiders claim Ross didn't want Meech regaining too much power or influence. He preferred Meech quiet and out of sight while he played the supportive friend for the cameras, even when 50 dropped a cryptic post and later deleted it, saying he had nothing to do with the events. Cancellation? All signs pointed. Right back to Ross's behind-the-scenes moves. A lot of people underestimated just how strategic Ross really is. That BMF tribute track everyone thought was a gesture of loyalty, turns out it was just another calculated distraction. It kept Meech loyal and the public narrative in Ross's control, and that's where the deeper twist lies. Maybe Ross never planned to support Big Meech at all. Maybe the goal was to become Big Meech in the public eye, to absorb that legend and use it for his own brand. Looking at Ross's history, that theory holds weight. He's built his image and credibility by borrowing from real street figures with powerful legacies. The biggest example? It goes all the way back to his beginning, when he took the name of Freeway Rick Ross, one of the most notorious drug traffickers of the 80s, and turned it into his stage identity.
Lead to.
I'm doing right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This ain't a pumping.
At the time, the real Rick Ross was locked up, and when he finally got out, he was furious. He publicly called out the rapper for stealing his identity and even filed a lawsuit in 2010 for trademark infringement. The legal fight dragged on for years, but by 2013, the judge sided with the rapper, saying the name was protected under creative expression. Ross claimed he made it up, but everyone knew his fame was built on another man's legacy, and it didn't stop there. Ross has a habit of latching onto real-life street legends the second they walk out of prison, posing as their friend while using their names to boost his own image. One of the clearest examples? Larry Hoover in 2021. Even while Hoover remained behind bars, Ross kept dropping his name in songs and interviews. not to help his case, but to feed his own credibility and sell records. Critics slammed him for it, saying he exploits real people's pain without lifting a finger to support them. Now, that same blueprint seems to be repeating with Big Meech. Ross linked up with Meech the moment he was released, preaching loyalty and legacy while using the connection to raise his own stock. The truth is, Ross's playbook has always been about clout and control, not real support. So when people like 50 Cent say they never respected Ross, not as a man, and definitely not as someone who understands loyalty, it's easy to see why. Let's just say 50 is probably grinning behind the scenes as this whole situation caves in on itself. And the best part? He didn't even have to lift a finger.
All of this.
Who's the bad guy? I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. That Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech.
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead.
While chaos swirls around Big Meech and Lil Meech, 50 Cent has quietly been locking down wins, inking new deals, stacking contracts, and building his next empire, all while his rivals fight just to stay relevant. Meanwhile, Big Meech and Lil Meech seem to be hopping from one celebrity circle to another, trying to keep their names alive in an industry that's running out of patience. Adding insult to injury, Rick Ross recently tried to clown 50, calling him broke and mocking him for not securing a loan to start his film studio. But that flex backfired fast, because just days later, the loan was approved. Now, 50's officially in business mode again, proving why he remains one of entertainment's smartest and toughest power players. The irony goes even deeper. Ross had been bragging just weeks ago about buying 50's masters. A joke now, given how quickly the tables turned. Fans online are roasting Ross, saying he must be fuming behind closed doors as 50 keeps winning without even engaging. That failed attempt at a flex just proves how fast momentum shifts when real business moves are on the table. At this point, it might already be too late for 50 to save Big Meech's comeback or bring Lil Meech back into the fold. The damage is done. Those bridges, burned beyond repair.
Feel about the rapper Rick Ross having the same name?
Well, the fact that he stole my name, not that we had the same name, he actually stole my whole story, my identity, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, he built his career off of my legacy.
Commentators like Zip with the Drip, who warned early on that Ross would eventually betray Meech, are now saying they saw this coming a mile away. He predicted Ross would cut ties the moment it stopped serving him. And, well, that's exactly what happened. Now, the conversation is bigger than just Meech, Ross, or even 50. Fans are calling this a cautionary tale about loyalty, timing, and trusting the wrong people. What could have been a powerful comeback has turned into a lesson in misplaced faith and costly mistakes. Some even believe this was Meech's one real shot at redemption, and he blew it. The ripple effect is massive. Insiders say this whole mess is reshaping how artists view alliances, forcing everyone to think twice about who they trust and what motives hide behind those smiles. Because this saga exposed the ugly truth, in the industry, loyalty is often transactional, friendships are strategic, and betrayal is just another business move. For Big Meech, reality is hitting hard. Once a larger-than-life name commanding respect in both the streets and the culture, he's now facing the possibility of fading into irrelevance. Analysts argue that this betrayal damaged his reputation more than any court case ever could. Without strong allies and with his public image in free fall, rebuilding that influence might not just be difficult, it might be impossible. Rick Ross, meanwhile, may have dodged the worst of the backlash for now, but his reputation isn't bulletproof. Fans and insiders alike are questioning how many bridges he's burned and how long he can keep getting away with it. Because one thing's clear, Ross's loyalty only lasts as long as the benefits do. And that's a dangerous image to carry in an industry built on relationships. Then there's 50 Cent. While everyone else is drowning in drama, he's positioned stronger than ever. Stacking new deals, growing his empire, and watching his rivals fall apart. If anything, this mess has only cemented 50's status as one of the